Welcome to the Good Shepherd and the Child podcast, where we explore the spirituality of the Christian child through the method of the Catechesis of the Good Shepherd. I'm your host, Carrie Mecchi-Lozano. Today, I have 4 different guests on the podcast. We're going to be speaking about the Aquinas Institute's Masters of Art and Pastoral Studies with an emphasis in Catechesis of the Good Shepherd. So it's basically getting a master's in Catechesis of the Good Shepherd. So if you want to learn more about that, this is your chance. So I have Samantha and Carolyn who join us for the first half of this episode to really talk about the logistics of the program. And then Hannah and Melanie join me for the second half of this episode to share their experience of being in the MAPS program. I hope you enjoy. Carolyn and Sam, welcome to the Good Shepherd and the Child podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Would each of you just tell me a little bit about who you are and your role at Aquinas Institute?
Well, I'm Carolyn Wright, and I am on the faculty here at Aquinas. I've been part of the Aquinas community for close to 20 years now, and I teach in the area of ministerial formation and spirituality. And as well, I direct the Catechesis, the MAPS, the Master of Arts and Pastoral Studies, for the Catechesis of the Good Shepherd, and also the Field Education program. And again, thank you for having us, Carrie.
Yeah, it's great I know we've been working on this for a while, so I'm really glad that it's finally coming to fruition.
Yeah, it's such a joy to be part of this. I'm Sam Messier, and I am the coordinator of enrollment management at Aquinas Institute of Theology. I've been here for a little over a year, and I will just say that working with Catechesis of the Good Shepherd, specifically our students in the MAPS-CGS program, has been such a joy. It is one of my favorite aspects of my job is getting to really know, to learn more about Catechesis of the Good Shepherd, and then also to meet all these wonderful catechists.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to learn more about the MAPS program. And MAPS stands for, what you said, Carolyn, the Masters of Art and Pastoral Studies. So we're not going to say all that from now on. We're just going to say MAPS.
It's a heck of an acronym.
It's a long name. So it's getting I always tell people it's getting a master's in CGS.
Yeah.
You go to level 1, you go to level 2, you go to level 3, and you're like, I want more. And this is that next step, the master's in CGS from Aquinas. So tell me, what are the logistics of this program? What would, if I was considering doing this master's program, what are some of the prerequisites that I need in order to qualify to do this program?
So across the board, we require all graduate students to have a bachelor's degree. We do offer something called BA equivalency. If that is something that a particular student needs, let's say that they weren't able to finish their undergraduate degree, we do have that process available. It's a little bit more work in terms of application processes, so that's something that I kind of take on a one-on-one basis, and I'll share my contact information with anybody listening who has some more questions about that. But regardless, an undergraduate degree, so a BA, and then either a GRE or an MAT standardized test scores. We require reflection papers, resumes, there's personal statements, an interview, 3 references, and then a small application fee.
Yeah, so those are basic requirements to admissions of the graduate school. What we're looking for when we talk about catechesis background is that we would like you to have completed both level 1 and level 2 formation. That and as well be working in an atrium. That said, there are times when someone might be in the midst of doing level 2 formation, and that's okay. We can talk about that. But we want you to have this background so that you can carry that experience, that learning into the courses that you're going to be participating. So once you come to Aquinas, you're going to be entering into graduate level theology courses, and you'll be studying really the 2 foundations of Catechesis of the Good Shepherd, both Scripture and liturgical foundations. You'll have what we call some general theology, i.e. the study of God, so that you can begin to understand some of the basic tenets of the faith at a deeper level, pulling on what you know already from CGS and kind of growing that knowledge base. That's really what we hope for you. So this degree program really is about a 3.5-year program. You begin in January of 1 year, you go for 3.5 years, and you end in May. So, for instance, we have the 2022 group who started in January 2022, and they will graduate in May of 2025. So it ends up being like about 3.5 years. You're going to be taking classes in sequence. So one course a semester, one in spring, summer, and fall. And you'll kind of do that sequential piece. One of the things that we hope is that we are offering a sequence of courses that's going to build on one another. So you're coming in with a base of knowledge from your formations, and we're hoping that we're going to continue to help you grow your knowledge base throughout this program, kind of compounding your knowledge and deepening your knowledge, and also your relationship with God, self, others, and the world in general. All right. We want you to grow as much as growing knowledge. We want you to grow as a human person as well. So as I said, this is really 30 credits hour of graduate level study. And when we talk about graduate level study, the courses are typically 3 credit hours per course. And when we look at that, we hope that you'll be able to set aside 6 to 9 hours per week to do this work while you are in classes. And part of that is really some reading, writing, but as well online work. So this, I want to kind of invite you into understanding our delivery system so that you can do this degree remotely. We hope that you'll have some facility with computers, and a course would begin. For instance, if you join the 2024 cohort, we would begin in January with online work. The delivery is a hybrid delivery system. So we would have maybe 4 or 5 weeks of online work, conversation in cyberspace, which is asynchronous, meaning you can participate in that conversation at 1 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever fits your time and your family schedule best. Okay. Then about 5 or 6 weeks in, you would come to St. Louis. And here you would come on a Tuesday evening so that you're ready to be with us in classes on Wednesday all day, Thursday all day, Friday all day, and Saturday half a day. And then you would travel back home Saturday afternoon. Okay.
So 3 times a year, you are traveling to St. Louis, and all the rest of the time it's online.
That is correct. 3 times for like that 4-5 day period, you would be here in St. Louis. So we hope that by offering it in this format, this delivery system, it allows you flexibility to do the degree, to remain at home with your family and to continue doing ministry as well. Okay, so that you can kind of do this part-time. Outside of the 30 credit hours, because this is a 48 credit hour degree, the MAPS degree, because we know the amount of work and effort you put into your CGS formation courses. I myself have done 2 of those. I've done level 1 and 2, and I know the time commitment as well as the detailed work that you need to do on the album pages. And then not only just that, but then spending time with the children in the atrium as well, right? That's the end of the ministry, right? Is to be with the children and facilitate that environment for God's presence, to kind of work for the children, let's say, to be aware of God's presence, right? God is always with us. So we want to give you credit for that because we know the intensity of that takes place. So you will have to submit once you kind of complete the training in all 3 levels and rethink and or kind of review your album pages. You would submit each album. Those would be reviewed by an independent reviewer, who typically for us is a formation leader, but someone who is not necessarily the formation leader you had. And then you would receive credit for that work.
18 master's level credit
Correct.
for
Correct.
3 levels of Good Shepherd in our album pages.
Yeah. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And the other piece of this, Carrie, is that you're not going to be paying 18 credit hours of tuition for this.
That's awesome.
There's a fee for this, and it's less than 1 credit hour of tuition.
The fee is $75 per credit. So it's a great deal.
So anyway, it really is a phenomenal kind of way in which we can honor the work and the ministry and the formation that you've already done. So we're happy that we can do that. There's another element to this degree program, and it's called spiritual formation. And this human and spiritual formation piece really kind of delves into the philosophy of catechesis, and as well the major influences in Sophia Cavalletti's life, such as Maria Montessori, Teilhard de Chardin, Gianna Gobbi, Eugenio Zoli. Those are just a few of the names of people that you will read and write reflections on and encounter through your spiritual formation, as well as ongoing personal development and growth and spiritual growth as well. So I think we want this to be a holistic experience. We want to bring forth what you already know from CGS and allow you the opportunity to deepen that experience and to share with others from across the country. That's the other great piece about this delivery mode, is that you will be connected with people from across the country. And you may or may not even encounter people who you have met in other formation sessions. We've had that 2 years ago. We had people who had met originally during a formation session, and here they became cohort members. You'll travel with the same group of individuals over the course of this 3.5 years. So those who begin in January of 2024 will be your classmates throughout this time. And I think that, Hannah and Melanie would be those who can speak more fully to that experience.
What about the overall cost of the program? If I was interested in the program, how much money should I be prepared to spend in order to participate in this?
So for strictly tuition for the 30 credit hours, so that doesn't include the 18 hours for the album, is $850 per hour. So that's about $25,500 in tuition. Now, there's the 4 units of spiritual formation on top of that, which again is the $850 per unit. So that's an additional $3,400. And then from here, this is where things get a little variable. There's the student services fee, which that stays the same. So $300 per semester. So that'll be $3,000 total. And then those transfer credits for that album, which is about $450 per album. That's what it works out to being. So the variable costs are going to be your books, and we recommend that you budget about $125 per course. However, it's rarely that much. A lot of our students get books off of Amazon, or you can find books for less. I personally, for some of my courses at Aquinas, I haven't spent $125 on a course. And then for those intensives to St. Louis, on our website we say to budget about $950 per trip, because lodging and airfare and food, it gets expensive. However, for our most recent cohort, something that they've been doing as a cohort is they look at a local retreat center, and they all, someone books it, and they all cook all their meals together, and that one is an excellent form of community. It's cool to see. But additionally, that helps minimize some costs. And then when you graduate, there's a $185 graduation fee. So total, all of that, we say to budget about each semester it'd be $4,200, which includes tuition fees, travel, and books. And then for a total across, whole tuition, whole cost of attendance is going to be $42,330. Again, this is an estimate because travel and books might be, a little more, a little less, depending on your circumstances. And I can segue into, we have financial aid. So most of our students, if not all of our students, do end up receiving some financial aid because we want this degree to be as accessible as possible. So we have a dedicated scholarship just for the MAPS-CGS degree. It's called the Sophia Cavalletti Scholarship. Why would it be named anything else? And in this scholarship, it's between 20 to 60%. The cost of tuition is kind of the range, and that's based off of the strengths of an application. So anybody who applies to the MAPS-CGS program is already automatically considered for this scholarship. So when we award based off of need, so we also require applicants, if they'd like to be considered for this, to submit a FAFSA. And I reach out to applicants personally, be like, congratulations, you've submitted your application. Also, if you're interested in a scholarship, please send me a FAFSA as well. We look at, kind of the need-based aid and the strength of the applicant to kind of determine in that range what percentage of scholarship we're going to decide to allot. There's a committee. It's a process. But most of our students do receive aid. So we try and not let cost be too much of an inhibitor to this degree.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about, if I want to learn more, you have an information session coming up, correct?
Yes, we have an information session coming up in September. It's September 21st at 4 p.m. Central Time over Zoom.
Do you have a link to the information sessions or to information about the information sessions I could put in the show notes?
I have all the links. So I will make sure to send you so many links.
Okay, so we'll have links in our show notes both about the information session coming up in September, as well as just this course, the MAPS-CGS course, and how to apply, or more information in general.
Yes. And additionally, something that I'll go ahead and send you is a link to my personal meeting schedule. So if you're listening to this podcast and want to learn more information, feel free to sign up on my calendar, and I'd be more than happy to schedule a 30-minute kind of personal call.
Great. Well, Sam and Carolyn, thank you so much for telling us all about this really amazing opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thanks for having us, Carrie.
Hannah and Melanie, welcome to the Good Shepherd and the Child podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quickly, would each of you tell us a little bit about who you are and your involvement in CGS?
Yes, I am a director of religious education at a Catholic school and parish in Michigan, where we do CGS for both the school and religious ed, and I'm also a level 1 formation leader.
That's awesome. Melanie?
Yes, I'm an attorney, and I volunteer in my parish as a level 1 mainly catechist. I have a secular job I do during the day, and I volunteer when I can at my parish, and I do go into the Catholic school as much as I can.
And where are you located, Melanie?
I'm in Saginaw, Michigan, so I'm near Hannah. We're both Michiganders.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear all about your experience in the Aquinas MAPS program and what that was like. I would love to hear about why each of you decided to even pursue this master's degree.
Well, I kind of decided to pursue it because of Ann Garrido. I was taking level 2 training with her, and she was having a conversation about the different master's programs that are out there for theology, and she had mentioned Aquinas' program for MAPS-CGS. And at first I was like, well, I'm not sure that's for me. And I put it off for a couple of years, but the more I prayed about it, the more I felt called to it, especially because Catechesis of the Good Shepherd is such a huge part of my life, personally and professionally. So I decided to go for it.
So I received a mailing because I had gone through all 3 levels of formation. And I received this mailing from Aquinas Institute of Theology. And I'm like, this is interesting. I had never talked to anyone who had gone through the program. No one prompted me to do it. So the cold mailing is what kind of caught my attention. And I prayed about it. And I know God is calling me deeper into this program. And I stepped out in faith. And I'm part of the 2022 cohort. So I'm currently in the program.
Oh, that's awesome. And Hannah, which cohort were you a part of?
I was part of the 2018 cohort, and I graduated in 2021.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is your favorite thing that you experienced in this program, or that you learned or took away from this program?
Oh man, it's so hard because you learn so very much. It just impacted my life in so many areas. I think that what I most enjoyed was learning about all the theologians that inspired Sophia Cavalletti and getting that perspective, and it's helped me so much in my approach towards liturgy and scripture.
So for me, I found it, of course, spiritually enriching because through, first of all, my intellectual development in studying scripture and getting into the exegesis of scripture, and like Hannah said, the theologians. At first, I was very intimidated with reading the theologians, and I chose a theologian randomly to write my paper on in my theology class, St. John Henry Newman. And I picked him because we share a birthday. So I started with that. And then it turns out he was a convert to Catholicism, and just how he really dove deep and wrestled before he converted and didn't want to convert. And then my faith deepened even more by studying that. So that's what part of what this program has given me is the chance to really appreciate my Catholic faith. And then taking that into the Catechesis of the Good Shepherd, because that's what we're sharing with the children. And it's also been very humbling because I've been stretched beyond what I thought I was. In my job, I research and write for a living in the secular world. And so this has just stretched me and humbled me greatly, which is good.
How has your experience and what you have learned in the MAPS program affected your work with the children?
I think what I learned is God is so much bigger than I could ever imagine. And to have experienced that while going to school and learning just about all there is, especially mystery about our faith. I mean, we're trying to understand our faith more deeply, and that's what we definitely learned. But at the same time, the more you learn, the more you realize that there are such deep mysteries. And I think about the little child in the atrium and how they want to penetrate those mysteries too. And so I think that I have brought that into the atrium too, just to be more present in the wondering with them, alongside them, on how it is, who are you, Lord? Just thinking about those big questions and entering more into the mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, because it almost is like the more you know, the more you realize that those core questions are still a mystery. Maybe it almost highlights them a little bit more of their value, that those core questions of who are you, God, and who am I within that love. Those questions still linger.
Most definitely.
What about you, Melanie?
I agree with Hannah 100%, even though I'm only halfway through the MAPS-CGS program. When I went through formation, I remember feeling like a little child with the formation leader as she went through the presentations, and I felt like a child again. And it brought me to the level where I could really share it with children. And so this is humbling me, as I said earlier. And it's just, I feel that because I can relate to the child through being humbled, that I'm just a better catechist.
Yeah. Well, what would you guys tell someone who was considering pursuing this master's program? What advice would you give them?
I know one of the great gifts of this has been the cohort that I went in with. We still talk and we still meet via Zoom and such. And so to get to know them and to really be through the program with them is a huge gift, and to rely on each other and learn from each other. But also as you're going through it, it can feel like it's a lot at times. But now that I've been through it, I miss it a little bit. And so to really just enjoy all the learning, the experiences that the program offers, and not to get overwhelmed, even though it might be hard, but just to lean into it and to really enjoy it, because it's awesome.
Hannah, that's amazing. You said you miss it, you know, because it is a lot. And what I would say is to consider the time commitment, but do not overthink the time commitment. You know, I was dedicated weekends here and there to my classes, and I was up many nights because I'm an hour ahead of Central Time. So I was up many nights past midnight, turning something in, but it wasn't that much. A lot of prayer to discern if this is right for you. I was praying right up until I submitted my application. Like, do I want to do this? You know, but as Hannah said, my cohort has been invaluable to the experience. We will always be chatting and bouncing things off each other. We're already planning a graduation trip to the Holy Land together. We're planning other trips together. These women, and there can be men too, I'm sure, we've bonded so much. And even talking to other women who've been in other cohorts like Hannah, and I've met a few others, that is a huge part of this program. And what I would recommend is talking to those who have been through it or are going through it. If someone's interested, I talked to a young woman. I was able to be a guest at a level 2 formation where Hannah is recently. And I was talking to a young woman there who is interested. So, and she was asking me about it. So just talk to women who have gone through it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great advice. Well, do either of you have anything else that you would like to add before we finish up today?
I don't think so, but I am extremely grateful for the Aquinas Institute's MAPS-CGS program. It's been so beneficial for my own personal faith, and then with my work with Catechesis and with the children, and even on the diocesan level when we're at committees and such, to have that knowledge and just that support too.
I would say that I don't know where this degree is going to lead me, but I think it'll be there for a post-retirement opportunity for me, so I can serve God in a greater way, if it's nationally with Catechesis of the Good Shepherd, or if I just stay local. I am his servant, God's servant, waiting for direction. But I'm going to complete this, and I will be ready. And I think it's been invaluable so far. Again, I am in the middle of it. So it's, I'm overwhelmed here and there, but it's all good. I'm growing spiritually. So I do highly recommend the program.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you both so much for sharing with us your experience in the program.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you all for listening to this week's episode of The Good Shepherd and the Child podcast. In our show notes, you will find a link to learn more about the MAPS-CGS program. I also have a link for the September information session. Now, that is happening on September 21st at 4 p.m. Central Time, and it's online. So if you would like to attend that information session about the MAPS program, check out that link. And if you also want to meet with Sam to talk to her about the program, a link to schedule that with her is also in our show notes. Don't forget that we have the audio version of The Religious Potential of the Child by Sophia Cavalletti and read by Rebecca Roitsevich available. So I have links in our show notes to explain how you can purchase access to the Podbean Premium channel that has all the chapters of Religious Potential of the Child, the 3rd edition. This podcast is sponsored by the United States Association of the Catechesis of the Good Shepherd. We would like to thank all the contributing members because you are making this podcast possible. If you would like to know more about the Catechesis of the Good Shepherd, or if you would like to become a member, please go to cgsusa.org. Thank you all for listening. We will see you in 2 weeks. Go and fall more deeply in love with God.